Computer AF. I'm John Boitnott.
I'm Ann Ahola Ward. Welcome to episode number 10.
We actually are remembering this time that it is number 10.
We're now in the double digits.
We're not double dipping. We're in the double digits.
Exactly. I don't double dip. I'm Canadian. We don't do that.
Yeah. But bright shiny light on me. Hi.
We're total professionals here. We're in a studio, which then I started singing Studio, and then now we're both going to sing it the rest of the day. We're going to sing it the rest of the day because why not? But I actually read about Phil Collins' creation of that song the other day.
What?
And
Really?
Studio is like, he just made up the rhythm and liked it and wrote the song around it and then was going to replace it with something that wasn't nonsense that he made up.
Yeah, I mean, my concern is that a name of a woman? Studio?
Well, that's how he played it because he couldn't find a word that went with the hook and liked the hook. I mean, it's how many years later and here we are singing it. So good on you, Phil Collins. But Studio is not a name of a woman, I think. I don't know. Have there been any babies that were birthed named Studio? I don't, after the song specifically.
No.
I'm not thinking it's a yes.
I don't think that song made it cool for Studio to be a name of, like there must have been a song, something made it cool to have names like Kristen, Kirsten, and Kirsten, because that suddenly blew up and every third young lady was named with that name. It felt like so, but that did not happen with Studio, fortunately. And I was just saying that they play that all the time at the Whole Foods where I work part-time. And they play a series of Phil Collins songs, including things like Invisible Touch. She seems to have an invisible touch. Yeah, that one. Also, Land of Confusion. Don't you know this is the land of that one. And then also
the video for that one was really badass. Yeah. It had the puppets and stuff and the Reagan stuff. It was like at the time I was like, whoa. That was like an expensive video for back then because it wasn't like you could be a singer and not be good looking.
Oh, totally. Yeah. But great drummer. Really great drummer. Mm-hmm. And then there's also Another Day for You and Me in Paradise. That one. I mean, like you just all these endless Phil Collins, like I think you said it best when you said that it's just not threatening. It's just.
I mean, in a commerce setting, you want people comfortable. You want them feeling good. Right. So you're going to play something kind of a little upbeat, a little nostalgic. If you're shopping at Whole Foods, you're probably have some money. And so you're probably older.
Yeah.
Like testing has been done. Demographics have been like sometimes when I'm targeted and I'm targeted well, I'm like,
ooh, good job. Kind of.
Yeah. As a marketer, I'm like, okay, all right. Okay. I see you. I see you seeing me.
As part of the same list. They do Pet Shop Boys, and there's like that's a really good. So there's What Have I Done to Deserve This? There's West End Girls, and there's also their version of Willie Nelson's song
Always on My Mind.
Always on My Mind. And so one day that comes on, and there's a woman in there who comes in, and she's like buying chia seeds, and that comes on, and she just starts dancing in the aisle. And she's like, wow, I haven't heard this in so long. This was the best. I used to dance at this in the club and like 20 years ago. And I'm just like, yeah, me too. Like the like you just described it, the targeting, just masterful targeting.
Yeah, they did their market research. They figured out their average age in that location. I doubt they're playing that everywhere, right? Like if it skews younger, if it skews older, I bet you they're absolutely not. So it's just sort of one of those things where you're like, oh, you got me.
Oh, yeah.
You
take my money. Take my money.
Fine.
What can I buy here now as a reward to you?
Exactly. Exactly. That's why they call it whole paycheck.
Yeah. I mean, the ones who get, the companies that get the AI right, that targets us, with the personalized assistant or whatever they come up with to do things in life for us, when they come up with the one that targets us properly, and I'm wondering just how many billions of dollars that company is going to be worth.
Right.
But yeah. Well, should we talk about the news of the week?
I know. It's like speaking about the AI.
Speaking about AI,
or I'm sorry, AGI,
you're right.
as
Oh,
we've been
yeah.
forced to say in certain conversations. There was notably the Monday announcement of ChatGPT O, and it's O, not zero. They wanted you to know for sure by making it lowercase. And the O is short for Onyx.
Is that what it's short for?
It's short for Onyx, which I think is like an internal name or whatever. And then it was very interesting how they announced it on Monday.
Yeah, with the crunch
Because
thing, the guy sitting at the thing with the thing.
Yeah, because Google I/O started on Tuesday.
That's did they
So
do part of Google O? Kind of or no? So, oh, they're like competing against each other.
correct. So ChatGPT was trying to slam dunk on and get ahead of the news cycle of Google, which kind of sort of worked for like a minute. But the second Google does anything, people watch. They're so big.
Yeah.
But they're in the AI arms race, they are mortal enemies. Although we're seeing some really interesting partnerships for sure, like between Chat GPT now and possibly Apple. I mean,
Oh, interesting.
well, you were talking earlier about the iPhone, but it seems ChatGPT going to the Apple, it seems like of all the big companies, Apple seems to be the most conservative in putting an AI anything out.
Yeah.
Um,
They haven't jumped
and
on anything with their own big product, right?
yeah, they have a way, if they're not first, if they're not creating the market or creating the category, they have a way of kind of waiting and seeing.
Yeah.
Right. And so we really don't know what they're up to there other than, the same old fun stuff like that commercial that got everybody all worked up over the iPad. The iPad replacing all the creative elements that musicians and artists use. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't get why people were mad at first, but then I was like, oh, okay, I get why
Yeah.
you're upset because they're crushing all of our culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I think in their minds, they're like, we're helping you. In a lot of people's minds, you're like, oh, you're ruining our lives. So I think it was sort of
Yeah.
telling
That's a
that
lot.
this, right. Well, no, it's fun. I was meant to be a joke because the thing is, this is a company that's always had their finger on the pulse of the consumer, right? And tried to be the creative, edgy thing that has allowed creators to make great content. And they have the tools for creating music before anyone else did that were really, really good. I mean, as a kid, I remember my friends back making, like, playing the piano on the computer. That was the first, So it just seems like a total sort of, they apologized, I think, because people were upset and they like money, but also because they maybe realized that like their evil corporate face was showing.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're seeing like various degrees of these companies just sort of like moving further and further away of being relatable to the everyday person, and that's sort of like Apple in many instances is now among the furthest of these big companies getting away from the average person and what their sensibilities are, whereas and Google, you're just describing it, right? They're just sort of like, no, you're a little too behemoth-y, a little sort of big and dorky. You're not really like able to relate to what the average person is looking for in the world. Whereas this Chat GPT is sort of new and younger and is yet to go through that process whereby it will eventually be unrelatable to the average person, but currently comes across as the new innovative,
right. When they're not really, when they're innovative for sure, but they're not really new. Well, that's relative. I feel like I'm being unfair with that comment, but
they have been around a while. Yeah.
The one thing that Apple did, or the stuff that was circulating this week, although the news is dominated by Google, and we can talk about that in a little bit, what happened at I/O, but
yeah,
iPhone owners are reporting in this latest iOS update that their old photos are resurfacing after the update that they have deleted. Oh. So they're not just, so the headline was in The Verge, it was, your nude selfies have resurfaced, and the thing is, they're not just showing back up on your phone chronologically. The deleted phones have been showing up in the recents.
Yeah.
So if you deleted something really bad, and like my spouse won't see this picture of me doing woohoo, some light flimflammery.
Oh my, the debut of the
And
word.
guess what? They will now. They will now.
That's one of our words, flim
The new
flammery.
word,
It's a new
it
word.
can't always be bric-a-brac. It's not that we don't want to give you internet bric-a-brac. It's that we have to make room for flim-flammery.
That's reasonable. Yeah.
I mean, it felt right. We both grabbed onto it, and there's no going back because
How do you
that was
not?
in context to a headline I read
With words
about.
like that, I don't want to have, if I don't have that word, I don't want any other words, It's,
No, no,
it's,
because I don't even really know what it means, but I know that I like it.
yeah, no, I think when you first said that word, it was in relation to an article about sort of spammy behavior on the internet, like trying to block.
Android AI using your voice, listening to your voice and your voice calls. Like that was one of the things announced this week that Google's like, oh, don't worry, we're going to detect scams on your phone by listening to everything that happens on it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
That sounds like flim flammery,
It's exactly it's a clear cut case of flim-flammery because, first of all, why do you have to, I don't need Big Brother to listen to my phone calls. They probably already do.
Yeah.
Some automated fashion. But, the other thing is that they've only rolled this out on like the new Pixel phone, Google phone, as well as the Samsung. So it's not like this is something that's going to take the world by storm quite yet. They had these like vague sort of promises of we'll release later in the year how we're going to stop you from getting scammed. It's like, okay, I'm very skeptical of that.
Yeah, we're going to stop flim flammery by engaging in flim flammery.
In literal, like we're going to go knee deep in the flim flam.
To stop the flim flam.
Stop the flim flam. Like that episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where they have the cat in the wall and then they put in another cat to get the cat out. And then like by the end of the episode, there's like 10 cats in the wall and they're breeding and it's like, it's one of those situations like maybe you're overshooting it. Maybe this is not how we solve this problem, but
you shouldn't use flim flammery to solve the flim flammery.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't bring a cat to a cat problem.
Yeah. Throw another cat in. I like it as a concept, like more animals, but you're not supposed to do that.
These are cats. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
No, don't herd them. You can't.
Well, I wanted to bring in no. Go to talk about Google I/O because
there's one other thing I thought was interesting, and then we can move on because Google. They have a new feature they rolled out called the Ask the Photo Assistant. So like
Google did?
Yes. So like voice search for your photos, which is kind of cool. Like if you back up your photos using Google, like I do, you can search things like blue car or whatever. But you can actually ask it and say, what was the license plate of that car? So like a license plate in a picture that you reference, it should actually be able to tell you.
Interesting.
I think is a cool feature. I mean, I already had that, by the way, on my phone for like a while with my Samsung.
I have only just recently started to become more comfortable with going to my photos and searching for words on the photos. That was only just something that I realized I could do like 6 months ago. So like if I had, or look for haircuts. Because I know I've taken pictures of haircuts along the years, and it just shows all these haircuts that I've taken pictures of in the last 5-6 years, whatever it's been. When I did that, I was just super, super happy with that. So any continued iteration along those lines is sounds good to me.
Well, I did the same thing the other day, but with wine.
Oh yeah,
I was trying to remember a label.
But
yeah, exactly, sweet treats. I was like trying to remember the name of a bottle of wine I had tried and wanted to bring back up. And then it just was 10 years of pictures of me holding wine. I was like, okay, got it. Thanks.
It's like 546 pictures.
Yeah, it was too many to go through. I was like, okay, someone likes wine.
Were there any pictures at any particular places in Napa?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. What's the point of wine tasting if you're not bragging about it? Yeah. And but you also want to remember what you like and then buy it somewhere else for less. But
really? Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I don't think Google I/O was a particularly exciting conference. Just like I didn't find ChatGPT's announcement that exciting. Yes, it's more emotional. Yes, it's more conversational. They actually, some people were reporting on Twitter this week that that initial rollout of ChatGPT-O, some of the features got pulled back later in the week.
Oh, interesting.
And that could be because they didn't work well, or it could have been for too high demand. But the other rumor I heard, which was kind of juicy, was that they were pulling it back so that Microsoft could have a bigger announcement. I was like, that's very weird. Makes you wonder how much actual communication is happening between these companies. But I was not as excited about ChatGPT 4.0 than as other people were, but maybe because I'm
one thing that when during their whole thing that they did, TechCrunch got in on it and did a thing, and then they had the sexy woman's voice, and they did a translation. So, which you probably remember, he was like, he was with somebody else, and he was with an Italian woman, and he was like, "Okay, ChatGPT, I'm going to speak to her in English. You translate it to Italian, and then once whatever she says in Italian, you translate it back to me in English." And they totally did that without a an issue.
That's a very cool feature that I think can help people in their lives, especially like people when they travel. Eventually with these machines having like sentience, ability, like maybe like a Cyrano de Bergerac situation where there's like somebody gets ghosted, or not ghosted. What's the term? When catfished by their AI on their phone. That's a movie I would watch.
There are so many possible ideas. Yeah, so many possible ideas that could work in a screenplay for sure. We'll
get to that later. We'll do that next. We'll get to that next year.
Sure. Yeah. Who knows what types of actors will be playing in these roles? Will they be real actors? Will they be like versions of actors who passed away? Who gets the money for that?
Maybe we get some money and then just hire all our friends.
Yeah, or that too.
I would like to make a movie and then just all the actors are my pets.
I think that there would be wrestling involved between two of the puppies probably, and arguing, and then a couple of them sitting aloof in the corner judging, and I
know that you're talking about the cats when you say that.
Just two of the cats. I think one of the cat. The one male cat, I think.
Lachlan? Yeah,
I think he'll be more in on the action. But, the two Grand Dame lady cats are going to be like, like a couple of, films like Betty Davis or something.
Once you've got the treats, you can just keep on moving.
Yeah. Keep on moving. Not needed anything else.
Yeah, no, I know what my role is in this house.
Treat deliverer.
Yes, exactly. Speaking of family dynamics, the internet was aflutter this week because Mark Zuckerberg also had a little bit of what seems like a makeover.
Well, we have our theories as to the origin.
Yes.
I would love to hear yours, and I can tell you mine.
Well, I hope that our good friend Spencer can like flash a picture of the infamous Instagram photo with like the silk shirt with the tiger on it.
I want that jacket. I want the jacket.
Yeah,
the jacket is very alpha.
I'm not hating it, but to me, it's almost like a little Bezos-y in that he's trying to he's trying to just like, I don't care, I'm a bajillionaire, I'll wear what I want. But so my theory of this was that he finally let his wife dress him. I don't think it's a midlife crisis. I think he's just like, she's like, I'm sick of the t-shirts.
Yeah.
I'd like to coordinate. And, I have a matching tracksuit with my husband. It's a thing wives like to do. They want to sometimes match, especially if you're going on a cruise. A lot of people do that on cruises. But that's my theory, but I'd like to hear yours.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, for me, that jacket kind of speaks a little bit to a who's the director of the Madonna's ex-husband?
Guy Ritchie.
So it speaks to sort of a Guy Ritchie-ification, a little bit sort of.
Okay, like getting a kind of a cooler,
masculine energy. I liked his slightly longer hair. I liked that jacket, which can be bought at several different places. There's a lot of companies have their own version of it, of something like that. To me, it kind of feels. I could see how his wife would be involved. I feel like, geez, it's taken a long time for him to let her get through on that. But what I think, whatever, he was sort of in a robot mode for forever.
Oh, he's not having
Yeah.
a midlife crisis. He grew up.
Yeah, right. Even he is now having. Oh my God, which must mean that we are getting a little older too. But my thought is that it's sort of an alpha type thing. Like he's hung around with these jujitsu-y type guys because he's doing the jujitsu now, and he's I'm a big tough guy now. So he's got kind of that I'm a big tough guy energy coming into his aura or whatever, how you want to put it. And I feel like that maybe some being around someone with the chain, with the I'm a tough guy, with the jacket, and kind of
Buck is tired of being a cuck.
yes, no cuck. You know, he's sort of he's gotten that masculine energy from the guys who he's doing the jiu-jitsu with.
He's like puffing it up. He's like,
yeah, and you know, I think it's a good look. I think it's you know, if it wasn't a good look, we would say it right away. But I think both of us are kind of like, yeah, it's all right. We like it. It's not. I mean, it's not fantastic.
I mean, no, but it's like he looks more like a human man than like a small boy.
True. And there was a time,
yeah,
you know, going back to 207, as old W used to say.
207.
207. Going back to 207. When he was wearing that, when he was a skinny boy wearing that sweatshirt, you know, that was the kind of guy I was looking for back then. But I was a little bit more like that back then myself. But yeah, we're not there anymore because it's been like 17 years. So, wow, time goes by way too quick.
I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he's trying it out. But I was like, midlife crisis is not the vibe I'm getting here. That's the vibe. That's the vibe I get from Jeff Bezos with those really shiny, highly graphic suits,
right?
And the like girlfriend with the things out, and then like he reads more midlife crisis vibe to me. I mean, if we were rating our billionaires in terms of
midlife
fashion,
crisis, yeah.
And
I think he looks good. He wears it well.
I think we're giving it a hesitant thumbs up.
Yeah, you know, it's
like
not
not like a.
Right. Ooh, well put. I do like the pictures of him and his wife. They look somewhat happy, you know, sort of doing some events. I think they might have been doing some events, you know, back in the day as it was too, but there was little sort of leakage of any of those photos, and now there's more.
I do feel for him though. Like the poor guy is just trying to go to a party.
Yeah, true.
And the press takes it and runs with it. I mean, imagine like trying to read the news for the week and you're like, oh, guess they didn't like the outfit.
Aw. Well, I think you and I both officially are not feeling awful about it.
You know what, Zuck? It's cool.
It's cool.
At least you're not Elon, who has the internet ablaze with what's happening at Tesla. There was that whole thing with the letting the whole charging team go, and and you even mentioned that, and then they cut all the jobs, and then they stopped hiring, and now there are strikes starting. There's a big one in Sweden that the largest union in Sweden has joined, and you know what happens there could happen elsewhere. So people are really watching it because you know the Swedes are trendsetters. Not like the Finns, by the way.
The Finns have a very high quality of life and live a very long life and do saunas.
Exactly. Sauna is I'm always corrected by my Finnish relatives. Sauna. People of Finland invented the sauna. Then the Swedes kind of tried to brand it as theirs. They put Swedish in front of all the sauna stuff because they need it. And look, they're pretty. I found out through DNA I actually have Swedish ancestry too, but not anywhere near as much as my Finnish. But I still like to dog on them a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, you know, you are more Finnish than Swedish, so it only makes sense.
Exactly. It's like 50% versus like 2%. So anyway, but I do think that Tesla is definitely like if Tesla was a person and my friend, I would be going, girl, are you okay?
Yeah, it's just, you know, my, when it comes to, I'll say this. I would be a whole lot lighter on Elon if he didn't have such an iron grip on what we are able to link to that would be able to garner any interest or you know, people linking through on Twitter. For example, can't put anything from my LinkedIn newsletter on there because he'll make sure to throttle that, you know, aka throttle it down so no one can actually click onto LinkedIn or Substack. He of course hates Substack, doesn't want anyone to go into Substack. I wrote an article about TikTok because of some great SEO need for one of my clients who wanted to really talk about TikTok, and that makes sense. A lot of people want to know about it, but you can't put that on Twitter because Elon views them as an evil competitor and won't let anybody click through. So all I'm saying is I might not be nearly as hard on him or hate him a lot less, at least, if he didn't, you know, if he just, loosened his grip on the wheel for a little. The idea of Twitter is that it's, you know, the place on the internet where anyone goes to see anything or do anything. Well, if not, if you're, you know, stopping people from seeing things you don't like.
Right.
So,
And quit pushing yourself as the suggested content, because
yeah.
as an agency have access to quite a few accounts on the platform and have to log into them sometimes. My team mostly handles, but I will log into certain ones and do certain
Yeah.
things. And every time in the last like 6 months, the suggested timeline has always got tweets from Elon. And I'm like, aren't you better than that?
No, he's not. That's the unfortunately,
Like, did you buy this because, you know, Jack and Dick didn't like you?
Yep, pretty much.
They said no to you. They stepped to you.
Yep.
And well, mostly Jack. But is this why?
Is this why? Yeah, no,
Because that's a lot of effort. You could have just like talked to a friend or journaled, you know. This was a lot of distress to put the internet through.
I mean, I could talk about the positive thing, which is the Neuralink guy. I mean, it's not all.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's a good thing because we're not about taking it down here. We're about lifting you up.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's obvious that, you know, Elon does do good things in the world, and they must be done by him. He can't put money behind anyone else who's doing a good thing. He has to come up with his own version that must be better. It's not, you know, regardless. The Neuralink thing, I found out that the guy was a big article in Bloomberg today. The Neuralink guy, the guy who got the implant, he got, so the wires came out. We know that, or they loosened, and he described what happened when the wires loosened. Let me see if I can
That is
find
so
it.
scary.
He said,
that is so scary.
He said, I started losing control of the cursor. I thought they'd made some changes, and that was the reason. Arbaugh said. His name is I forgot his first name, but his last name is Arbaugh. Nice guy. But then they told me that the threads were getting pulled out of my brain. At first, they didn't know how serious it would be or a ton about it. It was really hard to hear. I thought I'd gotten to use it for maybe a month, and then my journey was coming to an end. I thought they would just keep collecting some data, but that they were really going to move on to the next person. I cried a little bit. That's how much he loves this Neuralink. So, I mean, and they describe it in this Bloomberg article, like just how he sort of was able to do more things now. He's actually able to almost have a job now. I think I need to read further, but he might actually have like a job, and he was obviously not able to do stuff fast enough to be able to get a job before, and now he may be able to. And then also it says here, Neuralink set to work trying to see what it could do to fix the issues. Its software engineers tweaked the algorithms that record data from Arbaugh's neurons and made changes to the way that the data gets analyzed. I bet the next person that gets this is going to feel exactly the same way I do, he said. Once you get a taste for using it, you just can't stop. It blows my mind so much. So yeah, it's he's super happy, and I think he wants to continue. I guess after a year, they will reevaluate whether or not they want to continue. He's not sure if they want to, but he knows that he wants to. And they might give like a new next gen version of it or something. But
well, what would be his alternative right now, right? Like you have to think like this is a lot better than how it was before. So that's excellent. I mean, anybody who feels trapped in their body, that cannot feel good.
Yeah.
That has to be a nightmare. So you know, what's a few little brain threads, flimflammery? If the net result is you're gaming all night and you can get a job, like, bleep, bleep.
Yeah, no, exactly. Cut out the flimflammery and possibly get a job.
I don't get paid every time I say flimflammery.
You
I'm
should.
I'm getting paid in just happiness.
I get paid in my happiness when you say flimflammery. I mean, it's like I
Yes.
know another one is tomfoolery, but we don't need to. I mean, that's yeah, we don't need.
No, that's been out there for a
That's
while.
been out there.
This is like the fresh. This is like the new what the kids are not
This is
saying.
the
But
new
are
hotness.
everything. Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah,
this,
this
but
is the
anyway, so
new.
yeah, that's him. I'm happy for him, and so Elon isn't all bad ish. What are we
Yeah.
doing next? Oh, did we want to talk about what else do we have on our list? I think we want to talk about Waymo at some point.
I don't really know too much about what's going on at Waymo other than that, like they're
I
getting
just know that
investigated again.
yeah, autonomous vehicle software under investigation after federal regulators received 22 reports of the robotaxis crashing and potentially violating traffic safety laws by driving in the wrong lane or into construction zones. I know a lot of that was done in San Francisco. And I remember, just reading and seeing a lot of articles in the local media about that. I think a Waymo car hit a dog at one point,
Ooh,
which is not a good way to get
not
Annabelle Award on your side.
I was cool with you, Waymo, but now I am not.
Right. So, and I know that there was some issue with it stopping at some point and blocking the way for other cars to get by. I think that happened. I know there have been a few accidents here and there. Proponents always give some indication, of course, that any accidents involving the self-driving car happen at infinitesimally, much smaller rate than they happen for regular people, regular drivers. And there's one reporter for the San Francisco 49ers who goes on the Waymo cars, the self-driving Waymo cars, so he can just get from one place to another and do his lives on YouTube to tens of thousands of people while in his Waymo. And so I've actually seen a lot of the Waymo driving, and all he does is say good things about it. It's like he'll show when the Waymo car stops and slows down for people there, or when when it's at a four-way and somebody sort of jumps it and goes fast, then the Waymo's really good about knowing exactly what to do, like a person that pays attention really well. So I kind of feel like I've been in a lot of Waymo driving. But they're going to have to deal with, it's going to be an uphill battle to have to deal with, investigations into possible accidents. And San Francisco is definitely kind of a breeding ground for this. I know not everyone's happy. There was a bunch of, there was one time at least that I know of where they set one on fire. One was just sitting there and they just set it on fire. So I kind of felt bad for the poor robot, but at the same time, it's not sentient, so I shouldn't really feel bad.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole part of the internet that's and on Reddit especially, that's this is why we can't have nice things.
Yes.
There was a portal that someone created between Ireland, somewhere I think in Ireland and New York City, so that live streamed, there was this giant beautiful thing where people could see each other, and someone in Ireland put a picture of 9/11 on their phone and put it up to the screen, and it was just oh, and a bunch of people were having sex in front of it, and they were just it was it brought out sometimes technology like this that just sort of sets a new trend in a new category, brings out the absolute worst in people.
It really does. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
It's the internet.
And I think
internet comment phenomena. You know how people behave on the comments where they're just they're like,
I wish I did, hint, hint.
Right. Well, just people's behavior and the things that they say, and how they never speak to their grandmother that way.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think people see it as a victimless crime.
Yeah.
When really it's not. Someone has to come clean that up. Someone has to pay for it. Someone has to figure out why it happened. Someone has to file a police report. Someone has to respond to that police report. You're taking a lot of people's time with your anger.
Totally.
And misplaced whatever. And it's a statement, I guess, you're making. But I mean,
we've all had enough of the statements at this point. It's
I'm good.
Yeah, our whole lot. I mean, it's you're not changing how I feel. You're not changing my perspective. You're not giving me anything new. You're just being a dick.
Yeah, I've heard it referred to as the zombie internet. like we're now in the zombie stage where there's just so much automation of things that, you know, there's just like a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, I think
I don't
also
agree with that, but I think it's kind of interesting.
I think part of it is like performance art. Like people will watch a video or see a video and they'll be like, "Ooh, I have to see what the comments were like about this one." There'll be someone who makes like, you know, sort of a mean comment. I got to see what they have to say, and then somebody will be arguing with them, so I got to see how they go back and forth. And then,
Yeah.
you know, it's really for that. And some people are in it for that. And oh, okay,
There are websites entirely dedicated to YouTube comments, and
yeah,
I very much enjoy sassy and pithy product reviews. Like
sassy and
especially
pithy.
and pithy. Pithy is a word that I use a lot. Because I think like a fun product that or a weird product just brings out the weird in the internet, or something that's marketed oddly or whatever. Like I invite you to read the reviews on Amazon for a product called Truck Nuts.
Okay, sure, I will.
Exactly what you think it is. They're a silicon set of men's nuts
Huevos.
huevos that hangs from the back of a truck.
Oh, from the back. I was thinking from the rearview mirror, but yeah, good enough.
Oh, no, the back. To just let you know
Truck nuts.
who's driving. Yeah, read the comments on that.
Man.
You're welcome. Yeah. No, I don't. I've only seen them a few times, and I've only seen them in California. I actually haven't seen them yet in Texas, but
No cuck is driving this truck.
exactly. Here's my big truck nuts. They come in different colors, just like Crocs, you know, different designs.
This is bric-a-brac right here. I love. So we're leading on into the bric-a-brac section.
My attention span is waning, so I think it's time to maybe just talk about what we do. I think it's time to go maybe past that to the flammery.
Yeah. No, but one thing I should say, the key thing is I was watching this week about everything and knowing that it would be a good for our bric-a-brac segment / flimflammery is the big trailers that have come on. I mean, so the big shows, right? There's a new Dune show that's going to come on Max. There's a new Beware of the Dragon
House of
show.
House
of the Dragon gonna come on Max, and then there's a Lord of the Rings show gonna come on Amazon. But it's called the Rings of Power. So these are the big, you know, we paid $50 billion to, you know, budget to have these shows. Come and watch them, and they're all kind of Although the Dragon one's pretty good, I must admit that.
House of the Dragon feels Game of Thrones enough that you're kind of watching it, but it doesn't quite hit the stops. It is in only second season, so you can't expect to feel the same feelings of a show that you watch for like 10 seasons, right? Like you kind of, I don't know how long Game of Thrones went, but like there was a build up to having that feeling of that loyalty, so you have to kind of give it a shot. And so I let my Apple TV, I for some reason didn't renew it because I was like, there's no shows here. But then you run out of your shows elsewhere and you're like, all right, Apple, I'll see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And there was...
They have some good ones.
I did like Palm Royale. I was like, okay, that's okay. I kind of abandoned it mid-season because it was too much of Kristen Wiig just being like...
Val couldn't get on board. I know it wasn't a Val thing. Val wasn't into it.
Yeah, plus the spouse leaves the room and it's like, all right, okay. I tried to watch Franklin and it is hot garbage. Franklin, Michael Douglas.
Wait, which one's Franklin?
Franklin is based on the life of Ben Franklin with Michael Douglas.
Oh, it's hot garbage?
It is hot garbage.
I was not expecting that.
I could not get through the first episode. I think I maybe got 15 minutes into it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Bad. It wasn't like a so good it's bad or so bad it's good. It was just straight up.
That's what I thought you meant.
No. That was not going to happen.
Yeah.
That was not going to happen, but it was actually nothing compared to the dumpster fire. I want my money back. I want to sue for how bad Velma was.
Velma?
Velma, which I think was on HBO Max. I'm not
Who the
sure.
heck is Velma? Sorry.
Velma, based on the beloved Scooby Doo character. My brother mentioned it to me, and I think he was trolling me by saying like, "Oh, did you know there was a show Velma?" And I was like, "Oh, okay. Is it for adults?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah."
And
I
it was
think
about Velma?
yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I think it's Mindy Kaling." So he like dropped these like vague nuggets of information. So I would be like, "Okay, all right. It's Sunday night. I'm trying to unwind. I've done my laundry. Let me just like turn on the show." I called him in a white hot rage Monday morning. I was like, "Why did you do this to me?" Because it's like it's Mindy Kaling is the voice, and don't we love her? She's amazing.
Yeah, she's great.
So it's Velma from Scooby Doo, and it's animated, and it's really dirty, and there's like a lot of sex and violence, and it's like high school, and there's no dog, there's no Scooby, and it's just all over the place. Yeah, and it's confusing. I think it's like Gen X trying to write for Gen Z and just not really getting. It just was so like we were just like it was like rubbernecking. It wasn't like watching. It was like
It's like,
how,
yeah, it's like, yeah, watching
how
OJ Simpson, being chased down the 405. It's not like
yeah.
is he going to crash and kill himself? It's not
I'm not
like,
watching. I'm transfixed. I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
how bad could this get?
And as somebody who lived and worked in Los Angeles in that arena, I saw endless chases. And, they are like watching a freeway chase is oddly transfixing. So
Well, you're
there is
just
that
like
element.
I got through the one episode because I was like, okay, what? And then Velma is they just tried to do too much. Like it was like a very bad reimagining of a beloved character that I don't really want to think about like Velma's sexual orientation. I don't really want to think about like these characters growing up. Like
Yeah.
it's a timeless series, and it just I don't know, it was upsetting.
Yeah.
It was
Sounds like something
upsetting.
that looked good on paper, but wasn't something that in execution.
Fresh idea. Piss 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 poor. I'm just like full of just gems today. I'm
You're
just
full of piss and vinegar.
piss and vinegar and truck nuts, and it just was. I feel like I'm bordering non-professional language here today, but
Yeah.
well, I probably crossed the border, but it just was so upsetting. I had to self-soothe with the Law and Order episode after.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I just self-soothe with like an old rerun just to kind of like
I self-soothed with selling the OC on Netflix, which just came out with its third season.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it has that Southern California, Laguna Beach feel. It's got that hot guys and hot ladies. It's got real estate, and it's got them fighting each other over
Sexy
every little thing.
people doing their thing,
Oh yeah, oh
getting
yeah.
it done.
It
Yeah.
hit all the buttons. It had all the check marks. It was just like a soothing balm for the soul. And in between all that, these gorgeous pan shots of the ocean and the
Mhm.
inside of these mansions, and it was freaking wonderful. I
I just
love.
yeah, anything like Southern California is just like catnip to us.
Oh
We,
yeah,
we
give me
both
that
live there. We
Newport
both want to go back. It's just like a
and San
beautiful part.
Diego. I just want to go sit on a beach and just look at people playing volleyball and forget about the internet for a few minutes until I have to get back on it again. But
Yeah.
let's be
Until I get a
honest.
notification that I don't really care about that I need to look at. Yeah, but I feel like I've only again today I'm just on the negative, I guess. I think, you know, there's
You
just
seem fine to me. You seem
yeah,
great.
thanks. I did, Apple gets a plus for the second season of Loot,
Okay.
which is the show where Maya Rudolph has divorced a billionaire and she's
I
a billionaire.
love Maya Rudolph.
Yeah, I'll watch her in just about anything. Like this last episode I caught had Anna Gasteyer. She says she's got some like of her, SNL alums with her, and she's not sympathetic in that you feel for her because she's like, well, billionaire problems, but
yes, yeah,
it's a fantastic.
She's hamming it up. She's hamming it up.
Yeah, it's a satire. I mean, it's like you could not think about how poor you are when you're watching something about a rich person suffering. You know what I mean? Like if you can't do that, you probably don't want to enjoy things.
I managed to watch Selling OC thinking, oh yeah, maybe someday I'll get my real estate agent's license and I'll join,
I'll get a fixer-upper and I'll be a millionaire. Yeah, like it's aspirational. I think that's good too. If it makes you feel like, oh, this is something I would like and you can see yourself in it. You just don't want it to like make you feel badly, like Velma.
Oh yeah.
Where you're just like, this is so much wrong.
Too much.
So I really did enjoy second season of Loot. I thought they did a good job with that. I did not really get into Sugar, which is their other new show they're pushing with Colin Farrell, who is just a cutie patootie.
Love him.
He is just so fun to watch. We've talked about before. But
I just saw The Gentleman, which had Colin Farrell, who is a cutie patootie. He's just. Yeah, I just love that film. Such a good film.
Yeah, you'd love to get into some flammery with him.
Him or Matthew McConaughey, who was also in that film, or Charlie Hunnam. Actually, more than anybody else. So Charlie Hunnam was the consigliere of Matthew McConaughey in the film The Gentleman. He was that guy. But yeah, he was actually in Queer as Folk as a kid.
Oh.
And then
I'd like to be a consigliere. I think you and I would be really good as like a team consigliere.
Oh yeah,
like
consigliere for hires. Come
I think
here.
We're gonna put up our Etsy shop.
Yeah,
we're gonna sell consigliere services.
Ooh, yeah, we can do that.
And I do have a super cute show for you if you're into shows. Set in Ireland.
Set in Ireland
about podcasts. It's called Bodkin on Netflix.
Oh, I saw a little advertisement for that. Is it good?
Super cute. Okay. It's a fun little mystery with a little, there's a sassy Irish lass and then some new faces, some familiar faces. It's a windy, weavy sort of, it's like a beachy fun read, it's like
nice.
And it centers around a podcast. They do have fun with the fact that, people that aren't into podcasts hate podcasts.
Except for ours. Ours is one.
And that's all I'll say. I mean, that one I definitely went into the binge zone on because it was cute. And then I told my mom and she loved it. So it's like, you kind of like, it's one of those shows that you're like, get sucked into because it's you see the growth in the characters too.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And there's a little, I like the mystery elements. And it's in Ireland, so like nice seascapes and whatever.
Yeah, green pastures and whatnot.
Yes.
Well, I have been very happy to see our growth over 10 episodes of 10 segments of bric-a-brac TV shenanigans or flimflammery, as it were.
I'm glad that we have seen. I feel like, is this our season 1? Is the next episode season 2? Like, are we doing that? Is that a thing? I don't know. But I mean, that works. Yeah, I think it's, if you've watched us to this point, bless you.
If you've seen any of our misadventures.
Yeah. But I think it's something we enjoy doing. So we hope you enjoy watching, and thanks everyone for tuning in. And have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, I guess we'll see everyone in the next couple of weeks. When is Memorial Day anyway?
It's not this coming weekend, but the next weekend.
All right, summer is coming up. 3 months of hotter weather on the way.
Yes, and the fashion.
Hopefully the thunderstorms aren't too bad.
Yes.
All right, well, we'll see you soon. Thank you for bric-a-bracking along with us.
Yes, thank you, Internet. We love you.
Bye.